I guess.
Okay, so you got loans. You've got, what else?
Self,
Yeah, your own money,
mhm,
okay?
self-investment.
So your contribution. So that's, pretty much where you start with to get money in. What are some of the ways that it comes out of the business?
Well, your inventory obviously is your products and services like truck, equipment,
So your
office,
purchases,
purchases,
equipment,
payroll.
okay, you got your expenses, your operating expenses. Okay. Is sales an input to your business?
Yeah, or it can be an output too because of marketing.
Well, yeah, or if you pay commissions.
Commissions, yeah.
So.
Okay, so, sales has an output in terms of commissions. But are sales themselves necessarily an input into your business? The major causes of cash flow is your fixed costs creep upwards. Okay, so that things that you have to pay. It could be your rent, you're hiring people, so your payroll. Your variable costs get out of control. Or your sales do not turn to cash fast enough. And that's that accounts receivable, so we'll spend some time on all of that. How do you speed up these things? Or your inventory becomes loaded of knowing what you want to spend. These are the three primary financial statements that you'll deal with your accountant. The top is the balance sheet, which takes your assets, and that always has to equal your liabilities, the stuff you owe, and the equity in the business. Because, and we're going to go through an exercise which shows how that equity builds up, is not vendors.
It's customers.
Those are customers. So that's an important thing. If you shorten your terms with your vendors, what are you doing?
Taking money out.
You're taking money out. Okay? So your options there are, as Chip says, what? You can, what's the first thing, or one of the things you want to try to do with your vendors? Do you have terms with the customer? If you're finding your accounts receivable is drifting out, you might want to anticipate doing some of these things. And collecting your money, you want to make sure that process is as short as possible. You want to create a recurring. So, the gist of this is understand that the decisions you make can affect your cash flow. And it's important to make conscious decisions. So those were some of the techniques for accelerating cash flow. A form here, and this is that one that I was telling you is off of the Gazelles, into more of a process piece. And each of these are designed for you to jot down your thoughts on how to do that. This is understanding from the time you make contact until the time you make a sale, how do you shorten that process? So you want to look at all aspects of making that sale and the steps that it takes to get there, and you're always looking at your processes, in order to make them more efficient.
But I'll tell you, I did write down, like on D, one thing that we're gonna do is our billing is tagged to our weekly payroll. So payroll ends on Saturday, and there's a payroll report that comes out on Monday, and I go through it and I say bill it, bill it, bill it, bill it, bill it. I can increase that or reduce that by 5 days if I tag that to my work order. So if they produce a work order that goes out that night, I just picked up 5 days. That's huge. And I never really thought about that until I'm just sitting right here.
You want that invoice in the hand. It's
soon as you've done the
understanding, first of all, who your prospect is, and why they buy.
Right.
You know, what's important to them, and then what it is you wanna do and tailor your approach to that. The last area that I wanted to spend some time on is if you do a cash flow, the front page is a blank one. On the back page, we filled it out. You know, cash sales, so at the very bottom, you've got some operating data, so your sales volume, and I just picked, you know, various flows with a May, the lowest month, November, December, low months in sales volume. Down at the bottom is your cash position at the end of the month. You see any problems there? What other conclusions do you draw from something like this? And this is the way I always approached budgeting. You put down what you think. For me, why I think this approach works is that it makes these decisions around collections and your variable expenses more real.